lesson 5-2 is subtract rational numbers. You are working on adding and subtracting rational numbers for your warm-up, and now we'll start our lesson. So, the steps for adding and subtracting integers are the same. You just need to be careful to follow the correct integer rules. So, if you have the same sign, you add and keep the same sign, right? If you have different signs, you subtract and take the sign of the bigger number, right? If you have subtraction, which is what we're doing today, we're going to add the opposite, or we're going to apply the keep, change, change. All right, example 1 is subtract rational numbers. We want to use the same rules to subtract positive and negative decimals as subtracting integers. Okay, and I just reviewed that with you. So here we have a negative 4.2 minus a negative 3.57. So here we're subtracting. So with subtraction, we're going to add the opposite, or we're going to keep, change, change. Okay? So that negative 4.2 stays the same. The subtraction becomes addition, and the negative 3.57 becomes a positive 3.57. And now we follow our rules for integers. So here we have different signs, so we're going to subtract the digits and take the sign of the bigger number. So which one is bigger, the 4.2 or the 3.57? 4.2. We're looking for the absolute value. We're not taking into consideration the signs. We're just looking at the 4.2 and the 3.57. So 4.2 is bigger than 3.57. So the sign of my answer is going to be what? Negative. Very good. So here we have 0.63, and of course the sign is going to be negative. All right, for letter B, again, we're going to keep, change, change. So the first number stays the same. The subtraction becomes addition, and the negative 2.9 becomes a positive 2.9. Very good. And now we have a positive plus a positive. You just add like normal, right? Very good. And of course, my answer is going to be a positive, right? So our answer here is going to be 6.48. And because this is a positive plus a positive now, the answer is going to be positive. Example 2 is subtract rational numbers with unlike denominators. Now, you guys, for this, the rules are, the steps are the same as what we did yesterday, okay? So the first thing we want to do is we want to change the mixed numbers to what? Improper fractions. We want to change them to improper fractions. Very good. So here we have 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So this is 7 halves. Minus, and this is going to be 1 times 10 is 10, plus 3 is 13. So this is going to be a negative 13 tenths. Okay? Now, with unlike denominators, we need to make them like denominators. So what is a common denominator with 10 and 2? 10. The common denominator is 10. Remember, for the common denominators, you want to ask yourself, what number can both denominators be divided into? Not what can be divided into them, what can be divided into them. I mean, what they can be divided into, okay? So they can both be divided into 10. The common denominator is 10. So we're going to multiply times 5 times 5. So there we end up with 35 tenths minus a negative 13 tenths. And now we're going to follow our rules for integers. So we're going to keep, change, change. So the first fraction stays the same. The subtraction becomes addition. and the second fraction becomes, from negative, goes to positive. So now we have a positive plus a positive. My answer is going to be positive. Very good. Still, 35 plus 13 is 48. So that's going to be 48 tenths. And now we can change that back to a mixed number. So 10 goes into 48 how many times? 4 times, with how many left over? 8. 8. So this is going to be 4 and 8 tenths. And now, of course, 8 tenths, we can simplify that by dividing by 2. Very good. Make sure you're showing you're simplifying also. So we end up with 4 and 4/5. So the next one, letter B, we have negative 1/2 minus 2 and 2/5. Okay? First thing again we want to do is we want to change the mixed number to an improper fraction. Very good. So the first fraction is already a fraction, so that's negative 1/2 minus, this can be 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12/5. So now we want a common denominator. What's the common denominator with 2 and 5? Oh, again, it's 10. So here we're going to change. So we're going to multiply times 5 here and 5 there. And on the second fraction, we're going to multiply times 2 and 2. Make sure you're showing you're multiplying in the numerator and the denominator. Okay? So my first fraction then is going to be what? Tenths. Very good. And minus, my second fraction is going to be, beautiful, 24 tenths. And now we can keep, change, change. Keep, change, change. So first fraction stays the same. Subtraction becomes addition. And the second fraction becomes a negative. So now we have a negative plus a negative. So we just add the numbers, right? And keep the same sign. So what's negative 5 plus negative 24? Very good. Negative 29 tenths. And now we can change that back to a mixed number. So how many times does 10 go into 29? Twice. And how many left over? So this is going to be 2 and 9 tenths. And don't forget, this is a negative. All right, example 3 is subtract rational numbers. Now again, you guys, with word problems, you don't have to write the entire thing. You just have to write the important information. So it says here, a cave explorer starts an expedition at 3 3/4 meters below sea level. Is that going to be a positive or a negative? Negative, because that's below sea level, right? And then the cave explorer descends 4.2 meters further below sea level. So if the cave explorer is descending, is that going to be addition or subtraction? Subtraction. Very good. So here, our important information is that we have 3 3/4 meters below sea level. We also descend another 4.2 meters, and we want to know what is the elevation for the cave explorer. Okay, so we are subtracting. We said that this first number is going to be a negative 3 3/4. We're subtracting 4.2 meters. Okay, now we have a fraction, we have a decimal. The first decision we have to make is, do I want to change my fractions to decimals or my decimals to fractions? All right, so I would choose fractions to decimal also because, of course, 3/4 is one that you know, right? Yeah. What's 3/4? 0.75. Very good. So here, this is equal to a negative 3 0.75 minus 42. And now we're just, oh, not 42, 4.2. And then now we're just subtracting numbers, right? And when we're subtracting, we're going to keep, change, change. Very good. So the first decimal stays the same. That's a negative. And then the subtraction becomes addition. And this positive 4.2 becomes a negative 4.2. Now, when we add these together, because they're same sign now, when we add them together, what do we get? Remember, same sign, add, keep the same sign. So it is going to be a negative. And when you add, what did you get? 7.95. Set negative, very good, negative 7.95. 7.95. And the label, of course, is meters. So example B says Caleb brought 5.25 pizzas to share with his friends, 5 and 25 hundredths. Once they finished eating, there were 2 1/3 pizzas left. How many pizzas did Caleb and his friends eat? Okay, so here, do we want to change this? Oh, let's look at our important information first. So how much did he bring? Okay, he brought 5.25 pizzas. How much did they eat? All right. Oh, actually, that's not how much they ate. That's how much was left, right? So they had 2 1/3 pizzas left. And then we want to know how much pizza did his friends eat, right? So is this addition or subtraction? And what are we subtracting? 2 1/3. All right, so good. We are subtracting 5.25 minus 2 1/3. Is everybody with me? Now, all right, so here we're going to change from decimals to fractions because look at 1/3. If we put this 1/3 in a calculator, 1 divided by 3, that's going to give us a repeating decimal. It's non-terminating. So because it's non-terminating, we do have to use fractions. Very good. So we know what 0.25 is, right? What's 0.25? 1/4. Very good. So we have 5 1/4 minus 2 1/3. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is we want to change those fractions, those mixed numbers, to improper fractions, right? So let's do that first. So 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1 is 21/4. Minus, now we have 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7 thirds, right? 7 thirds. Now we need common denominators. Common denominator with 4 and 3 is 12. Very good. So we're going to show what we're multiplying. And we're going to show over here what we're multiplying. Okay? So my first fraction is what? 63/12. Very good. Minus, what's my second fraction? 28/12. Very good. Do I have to do keep, change, change for this one? No, because we have 63 minus 28, right? All right, so this is going to be 35/12. Now we can change that, and I'm going to move up here because I ran out of space. 35/12, we can change that back to a mixed number. So how many times does 12 go into 35? 2 times, right? 2 times, that's 24, right? With how many left over? 11. So this is going to be 2 11/12 And my label is going to be pizzas, right? 2 and 11/12 pizzas. Is everybody clear?